Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's Temple Wellness webinar on the Joint Health Blueprint. My name is Wilma Hubert. I'm the Wellness Coordinator with Bestmed, and I'm thrilled to have you with us today. Thank you for taking the time to join this session. We hope you find it insightful and inspiring. Please feel free to type any questions that you may have in the chat box, or at the end of the session, we will open the floor for live questions. To view the presentation, please select See Vilmary's screen at the top. You will find that option. Today's agenda will be insightful information on stronger and healthier joints. We will launch the Eat Well Challenge, and we will host another competition on the Temple webpage. So today's speaker, we are very pleased to have Nomsa Mokuna with us as the speaker. She is a registered dietitian dedicated to empowering people to achieve a healthier lifestyle that honors their cultural backgrounds. I want to remind our Bestmed members of their Tempo benefits. These are free benefits available to all Bestmed members and their beneficiaries above the age of 16 years. The Tempo process, you have to start the Tempo process by doing your Tempo lifestyle screening at a dedicated Tempo partnered pharmacy. You will receive a health report once the screening has been captured, and this will then tell you that your benefits are now active. The benefits that you receive is you get 2 consultations with a Tempo partnered biokineticist. Now they help you with your fitness. 2 consultations with a Tempo partner dietitian like Nomsa that will help you with your diet. So Nomsa, we are very excited to hear what you have to say to us today. Please take over.
Thank you, Wilmarie. Hello, everyone. I'm Nomsa, and I am the dietitian that will be discussing joint health with you. When it comes to our joints, they are always there to support us through so many different activities like walking, running, typing, so cooking, all of those daily activities that we do, our joints are there. So are there to support us. So our joints are made up of our bones, the cartilage, and ligaments. The ligaments are the ones that join your bones to the other bones. So the two bones are linked together with those ligaments. As a result, it is always important to ensure that you are keeping all of those working as they should, along with the synovial fluid. So that's the fluid between your joints that avoids all of that friction. So at each stage of our lives, it is always important to prioritize different things. So for children, it is more about establishing a good level or a good base for these joints. As you get older, between mid-20s to 50s, it's about maintaining them. That way, by the time you're in your retirement, you are reducing as much pain as possible. Unfortunately, sometimes some pains may start earlier due to like a car accident or any other accident that would force your body into your later stage, in the sense that you have to help speed up that repair. That's where your nutrition comes in. It helps with keeping the bone strong, ensuring that your tissues are actually repaired as they should be, and helping manage some of the inflammation that can come either after an injury or after some or other stressor that causes your body to go into inflammation, like the joint pains, muscle aches. Okay, next slide, please. So as I mentioned, throughout the different ages, yes, so the one that says, yes, so but yes, that one. Okay, so throughout the different ages, you would focus on different parts. Like I said, for kids, it's about ensuring that their bones are strong. If they break a bone, because kids are always playing around, always falling, it is important to ensure that they have enough of the nutrients that they need to support the repair during that specific time. Thereafter, so vitamin D is very important because that helps ensure that their bones absorb extra calcium. Calcium is quite easily found in fish and dairy products. So ensuring that the kids still incorporate dairy products is always important. If your children are lactose intolerant or struggle with, or you prefer to rather limit animal protein from their diet, ensuring plant-based options still have calcium is very important. Protein is another important one. So protein helps to form muscles, including your organs, along with ensuring that you are getting the key nutrients for your bones as well. So all of these are quite important for children and teenagers because as they grow, they would need more of these nutrients for the extra bones, the extra ligaments that are forming, the extra fluid that needs to adjust to the bigger bones. So all of that becomes more things to be prioritized during that time. And when you are in your middle age, so late teenage into so like 20s to 50s roughly. So that is where again you're preventing injury. You're ensuring that by the time you enter your geriatrics, so by the time you become old, your body is getting the right nutrients, or you have built a good, or you've cemented a good foundation. Because with our bodies, it's always about ensuring that by the time you're old, your body wasn't dealing with a lot of problems when you were younger, in your middle age. So diet always becomes really important here. So the protein again is really important, but this time around, vitamin C, zinc, copper, and manganese come into play because during this time, they help make sure that you are creating enough collagen. So as you get older, our bodies produces less collagen, but when you're younger, it's about giving your body enough so that when you're producing less, you're already producing less from a higher level as opposed to when you were already at a low point. Going from 30% to 20% is worse than going from 90% to 80%. So making sure that the base is always there, that way you'll be able to get the collagen. Collagen isn't just important for hair, nails, and skin. Our joints also need collagen for that hydration, the lubrication, to ensure that, again, your bones aren't rubbing against each other because that's when arthritis can kick in. So that's the inflammation of the joints. So by the time you get older, you might be more prone to developing arthritis because collagen production is reduced. That synovial fluid amount is also reduced. Another thing that can trigger is if you had injuries or if you tore a ligament as a child or in your middle age, car accidents, unfortunately, those can fast track your risks of developing arthritis. During that time, it's always important, or during the recovery, it's always important to prioritize the collagen synthesis nutrient to help make sure that your body still gets the right nutrients to repair as quickly as possible. Because the medication that they give you in hospital, a lot of the time, it is more about reducing infections, so antibiotics, protecting you from pain, so the pain medications. Sometimes if you do develop high blood pressure from that, they might give you that as well. But a good surgeon or a good doctor would also give you some zinc post-surgery just to help speed up some of that repair. Zinc is one of the most important nutrients when it comes to repairing your cells, protecting them from damage. So it's always important to prioritize this mineral in your food. And if you are supplementing, ensuring that it does give you a good amount of zinc as well. Leaning more towards something like a zinc citrate, gluconate, picolinate, or glycinate. Those are generally the more well-absorbed forms. So a zinc oxide, unfortunately, may not be the best format if you are trying to prioritize getting good amounts of zinc from a supplement. When can you please move on to the next slide, please? Yes. So with the older adults now, so when we're looking at those over the age of 60, this is where generally you would prioritize limiting pain and inflammation. So generally conditions like osteoarthritis and sometimes even rheumatoid arthritis, although this one is more of an autoimmune, so it can happen at any age. Osteoarthritis tends to happen more as you get older because your cartridges start to get broken down. There's more stress on the body and more inflammation, specifically low-grade inflammation. So this is the quiet inflammation that tends to happen. It can happen due to obesity, stressful lifestyles, a diet that has more pro-inflammatory, so more omega-6 than it does omega-3. Those things over time can lead to high levels of stress on your body. Because most often when we think of inflammation, we think of actual pain that you're feeling or swelling. But the downside is there may be more subtle signs that your body is under a low heat the whole time. So your body is simmering, not in the best way. Your body is unfortunately simmering your organs. So over 10 years, simmering your organs could lead to them not working as well as they should. It could lead to higher risk of inflammation and reduced absorption of nutrients. So you want to reduce this as often as you can while it's still early. So an anti-inflammatory diet becomes really important when you're older, as it is too late to try and prevent it. It's more about managing it. So limiting processed foods because they tend to be more pro-inflammatory, especially processed fats, like what you'd find in pastries, um, potato chips. So all of those processed foods and deep fried chicken, they tend to have more pro-inflammatory as opposed to fish. Fish generally is anti-inflammatory because it does have that omega-3. Antioxidants are also really important. This is where the herbs, spices come in because they do help you to always get good amounts of antioxidants into your body without always affecting your total calorie intake. So with spices, it doesn't always have to be the hot spices that you lean towards. It can very well just be cinnamon, ginger, turmeric. Those are all anti-inflammatory and they can help you get good amounts of nutrients without necessarily hurting your stomach or hurting your joints. And finally, there's bioactive compounds. These are generally um, things that can help with pulling toxins out, help with slowing down damage of your cartilage, specifically cruciferous vegetables and garlic. The bioactive compounds in them can really help make sure that you are slowing down the breakdown of the cartilage. With something like RA, so rheumatoid arthritis, unfortunately, because it is autoimmune, there isn't really more prevention. It's about managing the inflammation or reducing the inflammation. Again, anti-inflammatory diets are recommended, but leaning more towards something Mediterranean. So the fish, again, is very important. And that is the main thing to focus on because the main problem with rheumatoid arthritis is the inflammation. So the main solution is managing inflammation. So while both of them are related to inflammation, the RA, because it's autoimmune, it's more your body fighting itself. So you protect your body by giving it something to avoid all that extra damage to your healthy cells as a result of the excess inflammation. For the osteoarthritis, however, it's more about weight management, reducing the amount of stress on your body to ensure that those don't make the symptoms worse. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so I did touch on a few of the anti-inflammatory nutrients that are required, but just to give you a bit more detail so that you understand which specific foods to lean towards, what to look for if you are someone who supplements. EPA and DHA are the usable forms of omega-3. So these are found primarily in fish, but also in algae. So spirulina, chlorella would be the ones that would have that active or the usable omega-3. Nuts, seeds, unfortunately, the omega-3 in there is in an ALA. So that's the format your body would need to convert into the EPA and DHA. The conversion isn't always that effective. So that is why sometimes people tend to still be in a high inflammatory situation. Even though they're still having nuts, they're still having seeds, they may still be experiencing a lot of inflammation if fish is not part of their diets or if they're not taking an algae-based omega-3. So with supplements, if you are someone who doesn't eat fish or you're allergic to fish, then an algae-based omega-3, which offers as close to 1,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA as you can get it to, and then taking that daily would be a good way to make sure that you're still getting good amounts of omega-3. with the antioxidants, like I said, these protect your cells from damage, specifically your tissues. So the ligaments, your joints, all of that, they also need protection from cell damage, inflammation. So antioxidants, so the herbs, spices, dark chocolate, and colorful fruits and vegetables. So leafy greens, carrots, beetroot, those are always quite good at helping you get extra antioxidants. If you're someone who generally has like their three favorite vegetables or their three favorite fruits, it is still perfectly fine because the herbs and spices will still help you get extra variety. Herbal teas are also quite good at increasing variety. So if you sometimes have chamomile, rooibos, black tea, um, ginger tea. So you're already having four different forms of antioxidants coming in. And then if you're cooking with like mixed Italian herbs or any mixed herbs, or you just prefer parsley, that also adds extra plants into your body. And those also help with getting the good nutrients that you need. So trying to add herbs and spices into just about every meal tends to be a great way of helping your body get extra antioxidants. So if it's yogurt, a bit of cinnamon. If it's oats, a bit of ginger. It's obviously the spices are taste related. So if you have more of a preference for ginger as opposed to cinnamon, you can lean towards that. When you're making eggs, herbs in there as well are always a good addition. Then the bioactive compounds. The next slide, please.
Namsa, sorry, there is a question, and I think it's related to this page.
Yes,
This is why I'm interrupting.
no problem.
There's a question on the omega-3 fatty acids. What if you are a
Mhm.
vegetarian? What do you
Yes. So if you're a vegetarian, unfortunately, an omega-3 supplement would be a better option. So an algae-based omega-3, where the EPA and DHA are as close to 1,000 as possible. And spirulina and chlorella, those are types of algae and they're also antioxidants. They're good for detoxification, so they are also available as a supplement. Because nuts and seeds are more of a gamble when it comes to getting omega-3 because they tend to also have omega-6. And getting omega-6 from them isn't a problem. Omega-6 creates inflammation, omega-3 is supposed to remove all the excess inflammation. So the inflammation is there to kill the bad, omega-3 is there to protect the good. So it's better to rather take a supplement. Right. Then you're welcome. Then the bioactive compounds. This is where things like spices come back in. So the curcumin, which is found in turmeric, and olive oil, especially. I'll come back to the evening primrose part. So with the extra virgin olive oil, that helps make sure that you are limiting as much as possible the amount of toxins that may form. You're preserving as much of the nutrients as you can get it. So it is always important to ensure that you are overall helping your body get good antioxidants or good bioactive agents. So earlier I mentioned cruciferous vegetables, so broccoli, cabbage, kale, rockets is also quite good for that. So those along with these ones, so curcumin, the cruciferous vegetables, and the extra virgin olive oil tend to be great ways of helping your body get extra nutrients. There are some people, it's more an influencer thing, where they take a shot of extra virgin olive oil just for an extra potent amount of the antioxidants or the bioactive compounds. And that is quite good for getting good amounts of vitamin E for your skin health. It also helps with getting unsaturated fat, so creating the cholesterol your body needs for hormone health. But it's a bit more excessive, so you wouldn't necessarily have to take a shot of olive oil. Just using it as part of a salad dressing is fine. Just to go back to the evening primrose oil. Unfortunately, that is also something that is more omega-6. So it is one that, although you do need omega-6, it isn't what you would look for, specifically the primrose oil. It isn't what you would look for when trying to get omega-3. So it does still help with managing like skin conditions, but it is something whereby for omega-3, fish, algae are the preferred options. Okay. Then the next part being the the next part being the what's going on here? Sorry. The next part being the sorry, can you please just go back that gut joint axis part? Yes, yes. So the gut joint axis. So it's always important to still make sure that you are supporting your gut because that's where nutrients get absorbed. So bacterias, which are found in fermented foods, so probiotics are bacteria that you get in food. Those always help make sure that you get extra bacteria for your gut to support absorbing nutrients. Prebiotics found in fiber help you to feed those bacteria that you've added. Is there a question? Marie, do you have a question? I think
No,
your hand is raised. Oh,
no,
right. So it was
no.
okay.
Apologies,
Right.
Nonsa.
No problem. Okay, should I go on to the next slide? Okay. Right. The next one is things that you need to limit. Because overall, when it does come to your joint health, it's not just about giving it the right stuff, it's about limiting the bad stuff because they can always cancel out the good that you're doing. The most important one that is supposed to be limited is refined carbohydrates and refined sugars. And that's because these tend to cause extra inflammation in your body. They tend to feed the bad gut bacteria as well, so they can reduce absorption of the good nutrients. So it's always about avoiding feeding the inflammatory messengers. So the refined sugars actually feed all of those bad parts in your body. The naturally occurring sugars, things like um, fruits, vegetables, and milk, they do also have their own sugars, but fruits aren't necessarily bad just because they have sugar. They also have fiber, vitamins, minerals, which help make sure that their digestion is slower than what you get from cool drink, for example, because cool drink wouldn't have the fiber that your body would have to deal with as well. So the more your body has to deal with in terms of nutrients, the slower the release of sugar will be. So, like a balanced meal with bread with peanut butter or bread with eggs, that can help make sure that the blood sugar spike is slower than what you would have with bread on its own, like a slice of white bread on its own. Then there's added sugar. So, whilst we're still on that sugar part, added sugar is any sugar that's added to a food item. Fruit juices would or may also still have added sugar. So keeping the amount of added sugar less than 5 grams per 100 ml or per 100 grams would be considered low sugar. 5 to 22.5 grams per 100 grams or per 100 ml would be medium in terms of sugar content. And then no added sugar just means that on top of the sugar in the item, they didn't add anything extra. So if it's apple juice, for example, let's say they just took the whole apple, put it through a juicer, it still has its own sugar, but it has no added sugar. So that's just what it means. Doesn't mean it's not high in sugar, it just means on top of the sugar and the fruits, nothing was added. So still ensuring that you are leaning for high fiber fruits as opposed to just the fruit juice all the time still helps make sure that you are reducing the amount of sugar that you're getting as a whole. The next part being the saturated fat and trans fat that you need to be aware of. Next slide, please. Okay, so with saturated fats and trans fats, a lot of the time it is again processed foods. So polonies, sausages, but also fatty cuts of red meat, the skin from chicken, because those also do contain saturated fat. Cakes, biscuits, and microwave popcorn tend to have more trans fat, but they can also have saturated fat. If, let's say, for example, the cake is made with butter, that would also contribute some saturated fat. So too much of these, unfortunately, can also trigger inflammation. So omega-3 reduces inflammation. Trans and saturated fats would increase inflammation. So not just in your body, but also in the brain, they can increase the inflammation there. The other one is omega-6. So like I mentioned, omega-6 and omega-3 need to be in a balance. Omega-3 creates the inflammation to protect your body by killing the bad. Omega-3 protects the good by keeping that inflammation under control. So if you're having more omega-3 but no fish or no algae in your diet, unfortunately, that extra omega-6 would be a problem. It's not to say you can't have nuts or seeds because they have omega-6. They do have other good benefits in them as well. It's just more on top of nuts and seeds, try to limit the ones that are just going to give you excess omega-6, like the deep fried food, things like mayonnaise. Rather lean for ones made with olive oil or reduced fat options. And with the baked goods, again, they are something that can have more omega-6 than omega-3. Next slide, please. Right. Then, when it comes to deciding if supplementing is good for you or not, it's important to know not everyone needs every single supplement out there. Things like glucosamine and chondroitin, they are good for joint health, but it is something whereby most often it is better suited to people who are actually at present experiencing joint problems. They are more likely to see a benefit. If you don't at present have problems with your joints, it's better to prioritize giving your body the right nutrients to protect them from that. Things like collagen are always a good supplement for protecting your hair, nails, skin, and joints, but it's about relying more on collagen peptides. So hydrolyzed collagen peptides in the long term can be a good supplement. And also if you're recovering from injury, it is also one that can be considered. Turmeric and omega-3 tend to be more advisable if you are to supplement. But again, with turmeric, specifically the curcumin, because too much of it can lead to slow breakdown of serotonin and dopamine in the brain, it is better to ensure that if you are to take turmeric as a supplement, rather take it every other day as opposed to daily. The downside with turmeric as a supplement is that because there's so many different studies and it's not always on a large group all the time, it is something whereby the exact dose is difficult to pinpoint. So you might find a pill that says 1,000 milligrams of turmeric or 50 milligrams curcumin, but there isn't really a set dose. So rather starts on the lower end. So about 1,000 milligrams turmeric or 500 milligrams turmeric, and take it from there, because some people may be more sensitive to higher level of turmeric. So you wouldn't know if you're always cooking with turmeric. Let's say you're making butter chicken. If you're always adding a few sprinkles of turmeric, it's not the same as adding a whole bottle of turmeric into your body, because you wouldn't know what your exact limit is for specific nutrients. So it's safer to rather start slow, increasing it. Okay, next slide, please. And then hyaluronic acid. A lot of the time, this is coupled with collagen in a supplement. Or if it's on its own, look for low molecular weight. So similar to collagen, whereby hydrolyzed, which is broken down, low molecular weight is generally weighs less or it's smaller. So it does tend to be much easier for the body to absorb it as opposed to a standard version of it or an injectable version, because you would skip the whole absorption in the gut. Those would be much better options for you to rather go for. And something that's very important when it comes to picking a supplement, it's always better to rather go for one that has been regulated by the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority. So that way you know that they have tested the lab to see that they're not contaminating it with anything. Because generally anyone can crush herbs, put them into a format and sell it. So rather go for ones that have been regulated for the strength, to ensure that they haven't added anything. So for example, if you're buying moringa, they may, just to make it more affordable, because they don't want to pick all those leaves and dry them, they may add another plant that's much quicker to, or much cheaper to add. It's like with spices. If you go for a spice that is more salt-based, you're getting less spice as opposed to a mixed spice where it's just the spices, no salt. So it's always about ensuring that it's as pure as possible by avoiding buying supplements from a WhatsApp line or a random person selling it door to door. Those tend to be more dangerous. Okay, right. Next slide, please. Okay, so all in all, an anti-inflammatory diet tends to be better suited for everyone, ensuring that you are giving your body the right nutrients from birth or from whatever stage in life you're at is always really important. That way you are building a good foundation, cementing the foundation. That way, by the time you are in retirement, it's about maintenance. If you're already 2 years to retirement, already in retirement, anti-inflammatory is there to reduce the pain. Managing a healthy weight is always really important. This doesn't necessarily mean you have to be lean. There is such a thing as healthy at every age or healthy at every weight. So it is important to ensure that even if you are someone whose BMI is about 30, 35, as long as you're exercising, keeping a clean diet, your body is able to adjust with all that extra weight, as opposed to someone who's your weight but doesn't move at all or very little movement. So always listen to your body. If you notice that, let's say you had gluten, for example, so you had bread, the next day you start to notice your joints are more painful, or that, and that happens more regularly. It is important to ensure that you try and keep track of it. Speak to your doctor or your nurse, and then if it is something that they do notice that may need more additional dietary support, they would refer you to a dietitian or ask that they refer you to a dietitian to help manage it more specifically tailored for you. Right. Yes. So that's everything on my side.
Thank you, Nomsa. That was so insightful. And there's 101 extra questions that we will definitely get to soon. And let's just kick off with the challenge. Now, this challenge was also created by Nomsa. So this challenge brings together nutrition, creativity, and joint health to build, protect, and soothe your joints. So you have to create us a recipe. So as you know, your joints play a crucial role in the mobility and the independence and overall quality of your life. So the challenge mission is simple. You have to create a recipe to build, protect, and to soothe, like Namsa just discussed. So there's 3 categories. The one is for children. The nutrients that you have to include in your recipe is calcium, vitamin D, and protein. Category 2 is for adults. So you have to include the antioxidants, vitamins, protein, zinc, copper, magnesium, omega-3s. So just to clarify, everyone, you don't have to include all of them into one recipe, but try as many as possible. So make it as fun, as nice as possible, and as healthy as possible, of course. And then our third adult category is protein, omega-3 fatty acids, magnesium, vitamin D, antioxidants, the turmeric, and the gingerols. So yes, so if you need more information on this, NAMSA provided detailed description of, let's say you want to do the adults plus 60 and above, which is this one, and you want more information on what omega-3 fatty acids to include in your recipe, she gave a bit more detail, and it is all available on the Tempo webpage. So if you go now to www.bestmed.co.za, you click on menu, you click on what is Tempo, you will find the Eat Well Challenge. So how to win? You have to send your recipe to any of the 3 categories, to either Tempo at Bestmed or to myself, wilmarie.huber@bestmed.co.za. And one lucky draw winner will be selected from each category. And you will then receive an email from me saying that you're the winner. And I've got some amazing feedback already from participants in the past that participated, enjoying their gifts, enjoying their prizes. So please send us your recipe and stand a chance to win a nice prize. Let's do the challenge, the competition quickly. So, like I said, if you go to the web page, I'm going to quickly ask the 3 questions. And the first person to answer them correctly about the web page will then stand a chance to win a prize. Okay, so the first question, number 1, everyone, you ready? Who is the dietitian that is spotlighted for September 2025? No, it's not NAMSA. It is on the web page. It's definitely not NAMSA. It is another dietitian. You will see her picture. So you will have to go to the web page to look. Maybe so this it will be under the nutritional well-being. It's not Bronwyn. Renee, yes. Thank you, Sivani. Thank you very much. It is Renee Janssen van Rensburg. Thank you so much. All right. Are you guys ready for the second question? My second question is, name one of the on-demand exercise videos that is available on the webpage. So this will be in a different category. You can name any one of them. Michelle, thank you. It is yoga. Michelle, I saw your name first. Michelle Ward. Thank you. All right, my third question. Name one of the emotional well-being articles that is currently available to view on the webpage. So this you will find in the article section. Number 3. Emotional wellness articles. Yes, emotional resilience and coping strategies. That one is not one of the first ones. The first ones, let me see, sorry, melted grounding techniques. That is correct, Bianca Ruiz. You all will get an email from me that will ask you for your information, and I will then send you your gift. So please keep an eye out for my email. All right. So Nomsa, we're back to you. And I will be reading you the questions shortly. So I want to ask just our members, while we're busy doing the Q and answer section, take out your phones, just scan the QR code. Please just tell us what is your experience of today's webinar so that we can have your feedback, know your experience, and we can provide you much better service in the future. Okay, so Namsa, all these questions I'm going to quickly go back to. All right. All right. You did speak a little bit about collagen. So there is a question, are collagen supplements worthwhile? Or is it just a sensationalized on social media with so many people taking collagen supplements? Is it worthwhile?
It depends on your age. Under the age of 30, unless you've had an injury, I wouldn't say collagen is necessary. So like I said, if you've torn a ligament or had a car accident, taking collagen for about a month or 2 can speed up the recovery. Over the age of 30, because your body would naturally produce less collagen, ensuring that you are still incorporating zinc, copper in your diet to support whatever little would still be produced, then taking collagen on top of that. But do remember, refined carbohydrates like white bread, pasta, milk, chocolate, especially, they can break down some of the collagen. So make sure that you're including collagen, but not reducing the production as well or killing whatever you're taking in. So hydrolyzed collagen peptides preferably.
Wow. Thank you. I think this is our next question because they ask, what can I use for the repair or quick recovery of a wound on the knee when I've undergone
Mhm.
knee operation? Will collagen
Okay.
help for that?
Yes, so collagen and zinc are very important for healing. So
Yes.
during that time, taking zinc as an additional supplement could be beneficial. So again, citrate, gluconate, glycinate, or picolinate tend to be better options to go for. So about 10 to 30 at most milligrams of zinc.
Zinc. Okay. Please share more about what we can take for joint pain and inflammation resulting from being perimenopausal.
Mhm. So when you're perimenopausal, there's a lot of hormonal shifts happening, which can affect your absorption. So ensuring that you are having enough omega-3 to reduce inflammation so you can absorb as much nutrients as possible. Probiotics, so you can have the bacteria to support the absorption of nutrients. And generally a balanced diet so that you're still getting good amounts of phytoestrogen. So that's plant-based estrogen found in nuts and mainly seeds like flax seeds, pumpkin and chia seeds. So mixed seeds tend to be quite good for that as well. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's a question, do I take pre or probiotics?
Mhm. Generally, I'd say probiotics. Prebiotics are found in plants. So herbs, spices, nuts, vegetables, fruits. So as long as you are incorporating those in your diet, you need the actual bacteria coming in from a supplement. And probiotics, you wouldn't necessarily have to take them lifelong, especially if you are someone who does still have fermented food in your diet.
Wow. That basically keep it as natural as possible.
Yes, as often as you can.
Is is hake also okay for omega-3?
Mhm. Hake is more whitefish, so it is lower in omega-3. Pilchards are quite good. So if you are still having hake, it is still giving you omega-3, but not as much as what you get from pilchards or sardines.
Hmm. Is high fiber white bread a refined carbohydrate?
Is high fiber what? White bread.
White bread, is it a
Yeah,
refined
so that's
carbohydrate?
that's more low GI. So it is refined, but they've added the fiber back. So it does help make sure that it's not as it's still refined, but it's not as bad as a standard white bread.
Okay. Um, is it healthy to take sparkling water instead of fizzy drinks?
Mhm. Sparkling water, as long as it's sugar free, tends to be much easier on the system. So it is better than sweetened sparkling water, and it does still help with hydration overall. Unless you have noticed a problem with like heartburn, if you're taking sparkling water, it is still fine to include.
Thank you. Is sourdough bread a healthy option?
Yes, so sourdough, the bacteria in it helps break down the sugars. So it does help reduce the glycemic index, so it doesn't spike your blood sugar as much. It also helps break down the gluten. If you are someone who tends to experience bloating from gluten, so breads, pastas, something like sourdough might be easier for your body to tolerate.
Hmm. Here's the important question. A can of
Mhm.
Coke or energy drink, what damage does it do if you consume it daily?
So with energy drinks and cool drinks, did you mean like both or either or?
Either or, I guess.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
If you
So
drink
having
it
those,
daily,
yeah. Okay. So generally with energy drinks, especially the caffeinated ones, so highly caffeinated ones, like the bigger the can, the worse it is generally. They don't have any or a lot of beneficial parts. So drinking something that doesn't offer much benefit to your body is always worse than having water because water just gives you hydration, helps with hydration, as opposed to cool drinks, energy drinks, which would give you a lot of caffeine, which can make you more anxious, a lot of sugar, which can be something that raises your blood sugar. If it's a sugar free, it is still artificial sweetness, so they can still kill the good gut bacteria if you're having them frequently. So everything in moderation when it comes to processed foods.
Mm, definitely.
Yeah.
What is your take on the trending turmeric, cinnamon, ginger, and cayenne pepper with hot water that is said to work for inflammation?
So all of those spices are anti-inflammatory, so they can be beneficial. If you are to add turmeric, try and add a sprinkle of black pepper to help absorb the extra antioxidants, so the curcumin. But it is important to remember that a mix of those spices does not cancel out a healthy diet. So still ensuring that you give the other nutrients from food will overall support keeping inflammation low.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Is honey seen as an added sugar? Would it be better then to use honey instead of sugar when you are having cereal?
Mm. So honey is still a type of sugar, right? So there's cane sugar, which comes from from cane. What's it called? Like a sugar cane. I think that's what the actual plant is called. Yeah, so it comes from a
Yeah,
sugar cane.
sugarcane.
Honey comes from like beehives, right? So they both still sugars. It's just that if let's say a recipe call is like a sugar-free brownie, but it has a cup of honey, it's still a lot of sugar that you're taking in. So using honey instead of cane sugar in your cereal, you would be getting extra antioxidants, but it's still sugar. So it's still a good one to use, but it's still sugar.
Mm. I just remember when I studied nutrition, they told us,
Mhm.
your body can't tell the difference between honey and
Yes,
sugar because it still spikes your blood sugar.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's it's still the same thing, just coated differently or marketed differently.
definitely. Okay, let me see for the new questions. Sorry, Namsa. Okay.
No
What
problem.
about daily creatine supplementation for middle-aged women? I've been taking
Mhm.
5 milligrams a day for various benefits.
Okay, all right. It's probably 5,000 milligrams or 5 grams of creatine. So 5,000 generally tends to be quite good for muscle repair. So it is something whereby as you get older, your body does struggle with retaining muscle mass. So something like creatine can be good for that. Just remember to stay hydrated because it can flush out quite quickly in your system. And if you have problems with your kidneys, rather speak to your doctor before taking creatine consistently. Yeah.
Hi. What is the best supplement or eating plan to follow for menopausal fatigue?
Um, Goodness. So with menopause, there's always so many different factors, so it's either the stress or the reduced absorption. For fatigue, generally, again, omega-3 to ensure that all the nutrients get absorbed. Vitamin B12, probably if you are to supplement, look for methylated B12, so methylcobalamin, that's the active form. If your body struggles with activating it, that would bypass all the problems with that. So either as a B complex or standalone. And zinc. Zinc is quite good for hormone production, especially your thyroid hormones as well. So it's always about ensuring that your thyroid still works well so that you can support your energy levels and your metabolism. Yeah. And vitamin D, so sun
Okay.
exposure. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. It's summertime, so we can get a lot of. Can I take omega-3 if I'm already taking chlorella? Chlorella, I think is how
Chlorella.
you say it.
Yes. So that is a type of algae. Generally, with chlorella supplements, you don't know how much omega-3 is in it. That's why they don't even list it on the nutritional information. So if you don't eat fish, omega-3 twice a week on top of the chlorella would be a good surety that you're always helping your body get good amounts. With things like omega-3, generally the upper limit is quite high. So it's about 5,000 milligrams. So if you're taking an omega-3 that gives you 1,100 of EPA and DHA, you may still be well on the healthy normal levels. So it's less likely to be more problematic. Yes.
Is there any research on any negative impact on having low lactose-free products? Example
Mhm.
is it recommended that we use replacements like almond or soy milk or vegan cheese instead?
So if you are someone who does struggle with lactose, I would say lactose free. But if you don't struggle with milk products, there's no need to swap from animal to plant. Generally, because sometimes, although they do try to fortify it with extra calcium, to ensure that it still gives you good amounts of nutrients, sometimes they may have a lot of added sugar. You may lose other amino acids. So with animal products, you get all the amino acids to build up your protein. With the plant ones, you may not get all of the protein that your body needs. So you may need to couple it with something that does have the nutrient that you like. So it's always for example, a good example is if, let's say, you are having black beans, have it with rice, because the rice would have what's missing in the black beans. With almond and soy milk, it's always about with whatever you're having it with, you have to see what amino acids does this have as opposed to what does that have, and trying to still balance it out. Generally, a whole grain would be a good addition for plant milk, but plant milk in tea or coffee wouldn't give you extra protein or the amino acids. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Does collagen help for bodybuilding?
For bodybuilding,
Bodybuilding.
um, generally no, not as much. Unless it's a collagen that lists the amino acids it includes, it may not give you all of the protein that you need for bodybuilding. So if you are counting your macros, specifically protein, if it doesn't show you how much protein is in the collagen supplement, rather just don't assume that 10,000 milligrams of collagen is 10 grams of protein. So it doesn't have it doesn't have, well, research has shown it doesn't have major additional benefits as opposed to getting all your protein from meat, a whey protein, or a casein protein. Okay.
Okay. Here's a question. My child does not eat any fish products. What supplement would you then recommend? And
Mhm.
what is a good all-rounder supplement?
Yeah. Ooh, with the omega-3, try and look for an algae-based one. So with kids, it is more difficult because most of their supplements are fish-based. So if your child isn't allergic to fish, try to hide a fish-based omega-3 in food. So let's say you cook sweet potato and you add a bit of cinnamon and a bit of fish oil in there instead of margarine or butter, just so that they don't taste that they're getting extra omega-3. So trying to hide it as the oil that you would use, but just not with cooking, because then that could denature it. I mean, that could produce the amount of omega-3 that you're getting. Yeah.
Okay. Could you please touch on the benefit of including coconut oil in your diet, if there is any?
Coconut oil. It's high in saturated fat, so it is one whereby it, for some people, it has shown to still increase their cholesterol levels. And with cholesterol, it's one of those whereby if that extra cholesterol gets stuck in like a smaller artery, like closer to your heart, it can lead to strokes. Although your body does need cholesterol, you need to get rid of the cholesterol instead of just having it get stuck along the way. So cholesterol that just sits instead of being broken down is still a problem. So with coconut oil, as long as you're keeping skin from chicken, white fat from red meat, double cream yogurts low in your diet, that plus other plant fats can still be good. Oh, and then sorry for the previous question, a good all-rounder supplement. Unfortunately, there isn't such a thing as an all-rounder because everyone's requirements are different. Your diet may be doing quite a great job at giving you certain nutrients, while someone's body does struggle with absorbing it. So it's more about if you are to take a multivitamin, still make sure that your diet gives you good amounts because certain nutrients in a multivitamin may not be well absorbed, may not be in the right format, or your body may just not need it in that format. So plants in your diet, lean animal proteins, and a multivitamin would be a good option for what you prioritize.
Okay. There is many more questions that we're not going to be able to get, but I think I want to just remind our members, you have 2 consultations that you can get for free with
Yeah.
NOMSA these questions about your diet and your nutritional needs. So make sure that you use them. If you want to get in contact with NOMSA personally, send tempo at bestmed.co.za an email, request NOMSA's contact details, and we will allow you to get in contact with her to make your appointments so that you can get specialized diet information. I know, for example, that I've went to see Bronwyn myself to get information on my own diet, even though I studied nutrition, because you know what, we all need a little bit of help, and they are there to help us along the way. So, Namsa, thank you for today. Thank you for such insightful information. I feel like there's just so much to know and so much to understand. So I really want to thank you for your time today. Members, thank you for joining us. We will see you again, and I hope to get many recipes from all of you for a healthy diet to improve our joint health and strength. Thank you. Have a lovely day further.